field, but let's start with the logic. We get to understand how this code works in a few words, what it is, how it works, how the logic will flow, and we will start off in the component itself. So this is the component. Think of it this way: the component drives the UI logic, the component drives the HTML logic. So for example, here we see that sweeper name is binge on code. So let's change it to test user, and then we should see it updates. So that is how two-way data binding works. It's that simple. Any change you make on the component, it will be reflected on the HTML, and any change you make on the HTML, it will be reflected on the component, and vice versa. So let's split them side by side, and we go all the way to our input field, which is bound actually to the sweeper name. This sweeper name, it has a value that is bound to. So how do you do two-way data binding? You get to do it with ng model. Think of it as a banana in a box. Like it's one of the terms that is used for, like, this is a box and then this is a banana. Sorry, this is a banana. So it's like a banana in a box. By that, you get to have both input and binding. So if you only have it like this, ng model, this will only bind the value. It will not update the component. However, if you do this, it's like it's emitting the event. Like if you do this, it's like emitting the event. So you do both of them so that it's possible for you to get both the bound value from the component, the default maybe, and then the output as well. So you can emit events from here, and then implicitly they will update the value of the reference variable. In this case, it's sweeper name. So we have the sweeper name. So this sweeper name will be whoever will appear whenever you sweep. So, and then we also have a word to sweep. You realize that word to sweep is initialized to 0, but let's be creative and we initialize to book. So we have book, and then you notice something. It gets to automatically now start sweeping whenever the book value is empty. Is not empty. So in that case, we have validations that are being made. So the first validation is we check, can this player be able to sweep whenever they have put a value, and that's how it happened. So ideally, I can start sweeping and I'll sweep on duty. The person who is on duty is test. So the design is not the best, but let's work with it. So if we reload the page and then we say I want to sweep as a maybe binge on code, sorry, or even Ben, and then a binge on code, and then I start sweeping on duty. I'm on duty, I'm sweeping this long one, and then that should be it. So ideally, you realize that you have now understood, like, two-way data binding. Whatever is in the component is actually bound to the HTML, and whatever is in the HTML is bound to the component. That tight, it's like, think of it as a tight coupling. So the other variable that we are going to be talking about is the game has started. Whether the game has started or not, this will actually be helping us to drive the UI. And with this, we can be able to switch the states. It's like you are switching a state from lobby to not lobby. And then the other thing is the generated tiles. These are the things that you are going to be seeing. So for example, these are all the tiles that you are going to be seeing. And then the time remaining is this here. And then the player points, they are these ones here. And then did the player win? It's actually what we see at the end of it all. So this will be able to be seen once the player, okay, I'm not doing so good. Okay, once the player is, okay, yeah. Did the player win? No. I did not defuse all the bombs, so I didn't win. So the total points are these ones, which are actually based on the word. So if we have, let's try with the word like book, you realize the total points are 4 because book has 4 letters. And then the other important thing is the game time ref. This is actually a variable that we are referencing that will be able to actually clear the timer whenever the game ends. And this is really important because you realize that when you have logic that is no longer needed, when the component is destroyed, you have to clean up. So how do you clean up time intervals? you get to call clear interval, which we will see later, and then with clear interval called, you get to pass in the reference of the set interval. Yeah, so I encourage you to check those two things, set interval and clear interval, to get an understanding of what they are, they actually are. So yes, so we will go all the way to now start understanding like what are